NoDQ.com.
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 Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to episode number 948 of NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com. Thank you guys for checking out the full version of the video here on the site. I appreciate the continued support from you guys. And speaking of support, the brand new NoDQ.com logo t-shirt is now available on Pro Wrestling Tees. I'll also include a link with this video. Check that out if you would like to show your support for NoDQ&A video and the website. I would appreciate that as well. Also, feel free to leave a comment at the bottom of this page with your thoughts on NoDQ&A video and some of the topics I discussed. I will try to respond to as many comments and questions as possible moving forward as we do these videos. So with that being said, let's get started with your questions today. First question comes from Deplorable Hamp. If WWE does the broken Hardy gimmick, will they introduce it like it's a new thing or pick up where TNA left off? I definitely think WWE will reintroduce it and do it as something new. This is something that I talked about a few months ago. I think that it would be best to redo the gimmick in WWE, start from scratch, do some sort of angle that causes the Hardys to become broken rather than reference TNA, because let's face it, most casual fans do not watch TNA, most casual fans of WWE, they are not familiar with the broken gimmick. The reason the Hardys got such a strong reaction at WrestleMania and Raw the next night is because of the fact that most of those fans in the building, in the stadium, are hardcore wrestling fans and they are familiar with the broken Hardys gimmick, whether it's TNA or the Indies. But when you go to a random city, a lot of the fans are not going to be familiar with that broken gimmick, and they're going to be confused if the Hardys are coming out there and doing the delete chants and acting weird. Why is Matt Hardy talking with an accent? So I think it definitely makes the most sense to do a new storyline and redevelop the broken gimmick, which I think there's a good chance it will happen soon. This one comes from Moneymaker. Reports are saying the Hardys are going to split soon rather than later, and Vince being high on Jeff might mean another world title. I could see WWE splitting up Matt and Jeff, but I feel that the team has the most value together rather than apart. Jeff Hardy, of course, had a tremendous singles run, but who knows if he can really keep up with the full-time schedule doing a singles run. When you're in a tag team, you have the other guy to work with and carry some of the workload. I'm not sure if that's something that Jeff Hardy would want to do at this stage of his life. Now, if the money's there and WWE wants to go all the way with it, that might be something that is difficult for Jeff Hardy to turn down. I think the best thing to do is to let the duo become broken together, see how that plays out for several months, and then maybe at some point you can consider splitting them up. If the team is working out really well in WWE, then maybe there's some mileage to separate them and have them go their separate ways and see if you can get additional singles runs out of both of them. I mean, Matt Hardy arguably has really become even bigger of a star than Jeff Hardy over the last year or two with this broken Matt Hardy gimmick. I mean, it's really his baby and Jeff has just kind of gone along with it. So maybe there's potential for Matt Hardy to maybe even become world champion. Who knows? You never know how far this broken gimmick will go if you give it the opportunity to succeed on a big stage. So we'll see. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered about how well this will do with a mainstream audience. Because yeah, it did work in TNA, but that's also with your most die-hard wrestling fans. Will the mainstream fans accept the gimmick like the hardcore fans did? This one comes from Oscar. With reports of Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton now non-title, why even have the match? The point of the match is to settle the feud between these guys. It's funny because the WWE title has almost become a backdrop and the focal point has been based around the idea that they're going to have this House of Horrors match, whatever that is, and I'm almost scared to think about what it's going to end up being. It's an interesting situation. It seems like WWE was planning to do this match for the WWE title, but then Bray Wyatt ended up going to Raw. Now, there are reports out there that this was a last-minute decision, that AJ Styles was originally going to be the top SmackDown star going to Raw, and WWE changed plans and went with Bray instead. That would make sense. Bray going to Raw at the last minute, and WWE doesn't want this match to be too predictable, so make it non-title. That way, Bray Wyatt can win, and you don't screw everything up with Bray bringing the WWE title to Raw. And they're already doing this thing with Jericho. If he wins the title, the US title, he's going to SmackDown Live. It's all confusing right now. And who knows, maybe the WWE title will be on the line. Last time I checked, there was no mention of it being on the line on WWE's website. But at this point, it's not even a focal point. It doesn't even matter if the title is on the line or not. The whole build to this match is around the House of Horrors stipulation, and we still don't know what that is going to be for sure. This one comes from Sean T. Flick. Do you think Braun Strowman is here to stay, or will he fade away like Ryback? Will he fade away and classify himself as obsolete? Braun Strowman, I think, if WWE plays their cards right, as I've talked about in previous videos, I think he'll be a major star in WWE for years to come. WWE could perhaps learn from the mistakes they made with Ryback. The thing about Ryback is, when he was hot, it was because of his undefeated streak. With Braun Strowman, Strowman has already lost a match or two, but he's such a monster, and that's what is getting him over, the fact that he's a monster. If WWE keeps portraying him as a monster, I think that he'll be a star in the company for years to come, if he has credibility as a monster. With Ryback, it was really that streak that was protecting him, the fact that he was undefeated. Once he lost a little bit of that momentum that he had, and he wasn't quite as special. But I think WWE did drop the ball on Ryback to a degree. Will Strowman have a run 10, 15 years in the company? That remains to be seen. But if he's booked in a similar fashion as Undertaker or Kane, I think he'll have a lot of longevity in WWE, and even losing, he can still retain that status as a monster. So time will tell. Some of it's on him, some of it is on the company. This one comes from Joshua. What is the most underrated WWE entrance theme? I think it is Gallows and Anderson. If we are talking about current WWE themes, I would say Austin Aries. I think Aries has an awesome theme that I don't think gets nearly enough recognition. I think it's one of the best themes that WWE has produced, right up there with Nakamura and Bobby Roode's theme songs. I just think it's a great theme song, and it's great even without lyrics, just being a badass song for Aries when he comes out. You know, I feel like somebody's going to get their ass kicked. I think it's a cool song for him. So I like that one a lot. And if we're talking about all time, American Males. American Males is one of my all-time favorite theme songs that it's a cult classic, let's just put it that way. It's one of those songs that's so goofy and over the top that I love it. And I love the fabulous Rougeau Brothers theme song, and of course the Mountie. Cannot go wrong with the Mountie as far as songs that some people forget about, but I think they're all-time classics, and they should be played every single day around the world. This one comes from Jason Bush. Why has Kofi Kingston never gotten a true singles push in WWE? He has always been stuck in the upper mid-card at best. The closest he got was in 2009 when WWE did that big angle at Madison Square Garden on Raw where he did the boom drop to Randy Orton. But then they had a series of matches, and apparently Kofi botched something in one of the matches, and Orton, on camera, chewed out Kofi Kingston, calling him stupid. And then after that, all of a sudden, Kofi lost his push. Now, this is fairly typical in WWE. WWE will push a guy for a while, and WWE will eventually give up on that person and move to the next one in line. There are so many new guys coming in all the time, and it's like a new toy at Christmas. You're a kid, you get this toy, you play with it for a while, you get sick of it, you move on to the next one. That's how it is in WWE with these various talents getting pushed. And fortunately for Kofi, the whole New Day thing really gave him a second lease on life in WWE, and arguably it's the best thing he's ever done in WWE, this New Day gimmick. So it ended up working out for him in the long run. Now once New Day is done, will he get another singles push? It's hard to say. I mean, I think it could go either way. Maybe he'll get a push, maybe he won't. There's no way to know for sure. Timing might be the factor. If he's able to be at the right place at the right time, he might get another big singles run. Got this one here from Tyler Joseph Smith. And by the way, thank you, Tyler, for commenting on the NoDQ.com posts. I really appreciate it. Keep it coming. And I will definitely answer one of your questions for episode 950. So for all you out there wanting a question answered on 950, which will be an extended edition, by the way, keep the comments coming on NoDQ.com. The bottom of every page on NoDQ.com, you can leave a comment. I respond to a lot of them. And the top 10 commenters will be guaranteed to have a question answered on number 950 of NoDQ&A video. Anyways, to your question. Do you feel like WWE did the UK tournament too soon? It seems like they're stuck doing nothing at the moment. I do not think it would have made a difference. WWE could have done the tournament 6 months ago, right now, 6 months from now, and it wouldn't have mattered. It was a special attraction for the WWE Network, something special for the fans. It's a Triple H project. It's part of the bigger picture of WWE trying to recruit new talent. That's what it's all about. And a couple of the guys are in NXT, and maybe at some point they'll end up on the main roster, but there's only so many spots available, and a lot of people trying to get those limited spots. At least with the UK tournament, it gives guys a chance to shine in WWE. It gives them an opportunity. So it is a positive, and I think WWE should keep doing it. But I think people that are watching WWE should keep their expectations low, thinking that, oh, they're doing this UK tournament, we're going to have 10 brand new UK superstars on the main roster. Realistically, that's not going to happen. So you have to keep realistic expectations, but be happy that these guys are getting chances that 5 years ago they would have never gotten. This one comes from Answer Me Aaron Rift. Alrighty then. Should JBL be a GM or manager who bullies the locker room to capitalize his bullying news? Imagine the heel heat. This sounds like Vince McMahon in 1997 when the Montreal Screwjob went down. Vince decided to take advantage of that. People saw him a certain way, and he decided to make that his heel character on television. I think it would be awesome. I would love to see that. I mean, some of the best angles in wrestling are based off of real life. You had that Matt Hardy and Edge situation. WWE turned that into a storyline, and it was awesome. I'd love to see JBL as this heel bully. The problem is, I think in the end, the bully would have to get what's coming to him. He would need to get put down. Is JBL really going to wrestle again? If JBL wants to wrestle again, then I would consider doing it. But I think WWE is going to try and avoid drawing attention to this situation. I think if this was 20 years ago, absolutely WWE would take advantage of this and turn JBL into this bully character and really get it going. But WWE did not even go with the idea of Bubba Ray Dudley being Bully Ray, because they have this weird thing about not wanting to showcase bullies on television, even though it's all storytelling. You know, it would make for a good story where you have a bully who gets his ass kicked and somebody stands up to him. But yeah, WWE turned down the Bully Ray character, so I really doubt they're going to do anything with JBL, but I think it would be really cool if they did. This one comes from Callum Owen. With Candice LeRae appearing in NXT at the tapings, do you see her in the women's tournament in the summer? If anything, I think her being in the tournament would get her lost in the shuffle, you know, going back to that UK title tournament. I think her being in NXT, I think she should be pushed as one of the top stars of NXT right now. And I don't see the need for her to be in the women's tournament. I think the women's tournament should be designed for women that are not on the radar and are looking for an opportunity. You know, going back to that question again, women that would not normally get any kind of exposure, the tournament gives them the opportunity to make a name for themselves. Candice LeRae has already been established for many years. I remember watching her back in PWG a decade ago, and I thought back then, you know, WWE should sign her. She actually has the looks and she has in-ring talent, and that's a good combination. But back then, WWE was only focused on hiring the models. But now it's a different situation, and she belongs in WWE, and I think that she should be pushed right to the top in NXT and eventually get on the main roster. So I would avoid putting her in the women's tournament. This one comes from Notorious Kanye. Do you think Samoa Joe and Shinsuke Nakamura are being used to the best of their abilities? I would say yes. I would say both of them are doing really well on the main roster so far. Yes, Samoa Joe was not at WrestleMania, but I think that was because of the idea that they did not have something significant for him, so why throw him into a random match where he would just be marginalized? I think that Joe is doing really well as one of the top heels on the Raw brand, and Shinsuke Nakamura, absolutely. So far, he has been portrayed as this major star. WWE has enough confidence in his abilities and his star power that they're saving him for the dark match main event, which was usually reserved for John Cena, as a way to keep the fans in the building for 205 Live. They have the confidence in Shinsuke, and I think that he's going to be a big deal in WWE. I think that they are going to take him seriously and not turn him into a comedy figure. I think both guys are going to do really well. I think that so far it's so good, and hopefully the momentum continues for both of them. This one comes from Cheyenne. Do you think that the NXT signing a lot of big names within a quick span will cause their momentum? I'm not sure if he's saying it will help the momentum or cause them to lose momentum. I'm not sure what you were asking exactly. He also says, by the way, thumbs up for the new look. Thank you for that. I think it's good that they're signing new talents. I think it's good that Drew McIntyre has been brought back. I feel that the last few NXT specials have lacked the star power, and now with Nakamura being gone, I think there's really a need to bring in more talent. I'm glad that Drew McIntyre is there now. I'm glad that Candice LeRae is there now, and there are other women that WWE's bringing in. I feel the women's division in particular really needed some fresh blood, some new talent coming in. So that's definitely a positive. Tag division, I think they're going to need some new people. Hopefully they can bring in some new teams. You know, there's talk about Adam Cole eventually ending up in NXT. I think WWE should absolutely bring him in. And if there's any TNA talent that has a falling out with the company, I would consider bringing them in. You know, if EC3 ends up leaving TNA at some point, and so many guys have been leaving, I would not rule it out. I'm not sure when his deal expires, but when the time comes that EC3's contract is up, I would sign EC3 if I was WWE. I would definitely bring him in and keep some fresh blood in NXT and keep the thing going, prevent it from losing momentum. This one comes from Samish. Don't you wonder why talent like Dolph Ziggler couldn't make it big time? Great at the mic and ring skills, yet a mid-carder. I think it was for two reasons. Number one was timing. I talk about this a lot, how timing is everything. Ziggler won the world title the night after WrestleMania 29. A huge reaction, amazing reaction. One of the biggest pops that I could remember in WWE from any era. But unfortunately, he got hurt, and that really stalled his momentum. And like I said earlier, there are so many guys that WWE is pushing that if you get hurt, if something happens politically, you lose your spot, and then it's hard to get that spot back. So part of it's timing, and part of it is I think WWE never wanted to really push Ziggler at that level. You know, I think he was always more over than his push, and there are guys like that that get huge reactions even when they're not being pushed that strongly. And sometimes WWE takes it out on the talents that are getting the reactions when they're not supposed to be getting the reactions because the company's not pushing them at that level. We've seen it with Zack Ryder where he got over on his own doing the Z True Hollywood Story, and WWE would bury him for the longest time and keep him down in the lower cards and keep him off Raw and all that stuff. I remember Ziggler winning at Survivor Series, you know, when Sting made his debut. That should have been huge for Ziggler, but it quickly went back to being about John Cena and the Authority, and Ziggler got tossed aside again. So, you know, WWE definitely dropped the ball with him. He had some opportunities to really break out, and then once Ziggler started copying the look of Shawn Michaels, I think maybe in a way that's just him not giving a damn anymore and just doing whatever he wants to do, you know. Not really a fan of him just blatantly copying Shawn Michaels with all that stuff, but, you know, whatever, it is what it is. Alright, that'll wrap it up for this edition of No DQ&A video. Thanks again for watching. Leave a comment at the bottom of this page with your thoughts on the video. I will try to respond to as many people as possible. Keep the comments coming in on various NoDQ.com posts. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time for number 949.